A thread by Soul War. Remember what America was like in 2006? Just 14 years ago? If you could travel back in time to tell the 2006 you what's transpiring today, they'd have thought you were nuts. Americans proposing political retaliation on other Americans, open censorship of the First Amendment in America. I post pictures on these threads to emphasize my points, and I often find myself coming back to the Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, directed by Christopher Nolan. That film is a perfect storm that encapsulates what we're now experiencing. Prescient. Because all of this has happened before. Just ask any American who's emigrated or escaped from oppressor regimes from around the world. Ask a Cuban or Venezuelan American or an older Russian who remembers life during the Cold War. They know what's taking root upon our soil now. They recognize it and are horrified. America, under Reagan, won that Cold War because Reagan refused to see the Soviets as anything but the monstrously evil empire they actually were. My strategy is this, Reagan said. We win, they lose. The DC bureaucracy lost their minds. He'll kill us all, they cried. And then we won. The wall came crashing down as the specter of a nuclear Armageddon began to fade. Did you know that Reagan's terrified staffers removed any reference to the wall from his speech? Link in the thread, YouTube video, Reagan's famous words, tear down this wall. Reagan was quoting the earlier draft from memory. The speech set before him had been altered without his permission. The same DC apparatchiks created the Department of Education to centralize the learning of America's children and then promptly went to sleep as enemies within began to use it to indoctrinate the youth with Marxism. The results of our lack of vigilance are now rioting every night in the Pacific Northwest. Marxism has taken root in the good old US of A, fomenting the creation of a darker, second America within the original, as now 40% plus of Americans subscribe to it in one degree or another. The media, not just news, but TV and movies, have reinforced, and now social media and big tech reinforce it as well. As foreign influence in DC grew to match it, putting American interests last as our own politicians and the lawmakers cast us as the villains in every endeavor. We rob elections. The debacle of the 2000 election was 20 years ago. W managed to win in court, but the left has never accepted that loss. When we win, they scream, "You cheated!" When they cheat to win, they shout, "Suck on that, you losers!" They lost again in 2016 and will never accept that either. Trump beat the cheat in 2016. You do realize that, right? They thought they'd padded the votes in key states just like they did on November 3rd. Whoopsie! Now, these vile, lawless goons really prepared and thought they were ready for Trump this time. They'd cheat him for sure. One problem. They'd begun to believe their own bullshit polling, and with the assurances that big tech and the mainstream media's superpower control over information and messaging, they were too confident in their position. They ignored what Trump was doing. He no longer matters, they scoffed. We've got him cold. As Trump campaigned, networked, and rallied tirelessly to build the red wave he needed to destroy their hold on power once and for all, because he knew what that red wave would make them do. He might win outright, but Trump knows Democrats. He set a trap. Trump took notes for the 40 plus years. That's 4 decades, folks. He moved in their circles. He took notes during the 2018 midterms as the left flipped multiple states blue by cheating like brazen bandits. We all screamed at him, "For the love of God, do something!" He was. He just wasn't telling us. That would be suboptimal, as it wouldn't have given Trump the opportunity to shatter all of his enemies at one go in 2020. Trump's people, feds, and military monitored everything the Democrats did on November 3rd. They caught them cold. They're doomed. Rudy Giuliani has the receipts, evidence. His YouTube channel is amazeballs, just like hashtag Huntergate. He lays out a damning case of election fraud. Stop calling it vote fraud. If I vote 6 times, that's vote fraud. If I switch vote numbers, that's election fraud. But the mainstream media and big tech won't let this story out. People whine to me. So fucking what? Legacy media is about to be shattered forever. Big tech is about to be proven to be biased and will be broken up. Because Trump isn't trying to win the PR war. He's winning the real war in court. The false narrative is set. Biden is your new president. Bow down before him. A child-sniffing corruptocrat owned by the Chinese Communist Party. All the enthralled Americans who voted for Biden have accepted the script in this American horror movie. Watch what happens when Trump flips that script. When he's legally and morally declared the winner and gets 4 more years, it will look like this. Link in the thread to Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. Sauron's Tower is the accumulated power of the deep state Dems, the mainstream media, big tech, all of them. Their shitty movie rewritten with them powerless to stop it. I'm going to assume it's the Battle of Minas Tirith. The next 2 to 3 weeks will stun many as Trump, Giuliani, and Barr drop devastating proof bombs in court with the assistance of new media and herald the end of the enemy's dark grip upon our voices. The structure the left built, their Barad-dûr dark tower, will come crashing down. America reached a crisis point in 2016, and we beat their cheat then, and we're going to beat it now, despite their best dirty trick efforts, because Trump knows who they are. He knew how to beat them legally. As he destroys their great reset, he launches one of his own. Trump's great reset doesn't involve locking populations down until their economies and middle class are destroyed, leaving them no options but to kiss the jackboot as it lovingly stomps on your face for eternity. Using a contrived health emergency with a 99.997 survival rate. Nope. President Trump, in his second glorious term, without those piranha ankle biters being able to sandbag him at every turn, will foment a magnificent, benevolent great reset I call Americana Rising. Stability, prosperity, and sanity unrivaled in human history. Treasured and appreciated because we've experienced their polar opposites. We had to see their masks drop and recoil in horror from what was revealed in all its stark inhumanity and dark intent. Many will shake off their control, but many won't. Accept it. Leave them behind as you ensure their powerlessness. Let them wander like leaderless orcs, bereft of their dark force multipliers, the mainstream media and big tech, as we bask in the joy of the Pax Americana, but never forget what we suffered at their hands and remain vigilant. All it takes is one sleeping generation to put us back in the danger zone. Ronald Reagan said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." We were asleep. Now we are awakened. The woke adherents to Marxism's foul new religion will fade away, and with them will go the insanity they demanded we convert to, because we will be too busy being awesome to care, and that awesomeness will soon go worldwide. Ripples to tsunamis. Whoopsie. So much for your long planned great reset, eh, globalists? Our unity and combined power as a free people were what they always feared and worked tirelessly to destroy, to make us hate one another. Well, one man was working even more tirelessly. And now, you know why. To support the works of Brent Cates, donate any amount at paypal.me/Brent Cates. Also, check out the Americana Rising Teespring store, link in the thread.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.